Hi, good morning. It's Mallikarjun here. Today I am going to present about data warehousing. Let us look at what is data warehousing. A data warehousing is a subject-oriented, integrated, time-invariant, non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process. A data warehousing is a relational or a multidimensional database that is designed for querying and analysis rather than transaction processing. It usually contains historical data that is derived from transaction data. It separates analysis workload from transaction workloads and enables a business to consolidate data from several sources. Data warehouse can be classified into three types: enterprise warehouse, operational data store, and data mart. Enterprise data warehouse provides a central database for decision support throughout the enterprise. Operational data store. This is a broad enterprise-wide scope, but unlike the real enterprise data warehouse, data is refreshed in near real time and used for routine business activity. Data Mart is a subset of data warehouse and it supports a particular region, business unit, or a business function. Data warehouse and data marts are built on dimensional data modeling where fact tables are connected with dimensional tables. This is most useful for users to access data since a database can be visualized as a cube of several dimensions. A data warehouse provides an opportunity for slicing and dicing the cube along each of its dimensions. It is designed for a particular line of business such as sales, marketing or finance. In a department data mart, data can be derived from an enterprise-wide data warehouse. In an independent data mart, data can be collected directly from sources. In order to store data over the years, many application designers in each branch have made their individual decisions as to how an application and database should be built. Therefore, source systems will be different in name conventions, measurements, encoding structures, and physical attributes of data. This is a architecture of a data warehouse. The data warehouse architecture has several flows in it. The first stage in the architecture is business modeling. Many organizations justify building data warehouse as an act of faith. This stage is necessary as to identify the projected business benefits that should be derived from using the data warehouse. Data modeling. Developing data modules from the source systems and develops dimensional data modules from the data warehouse. In this third stage, several data source systems are collected together. In ETL process stage, the fourth stage, actions like developing ETL process, extraction of data, transfer of data, loading of data are done. The fifth stage is target data, which is in the form of several data marts. The last stage is generating several business reports called business intelligence stage. Data marts are generally called the subset of data warehouse. They diagrammatically look like generally when we consider an example of an organization selling products throughout the world. The main four major dimensions are product, location, time, and organization. Ways to build a data warehouse. There are mainly four ways to build a data warehouse. Although we have been building data warehouse since early 1990s, there is still a great deal of confusion about the similarities and differences among the four major architectures: top-down, bottom-up, hybrid, and federated. As a result, some firms fail to adopt a clear vision of how their data warehousing environments can and should evolve. Others, paralyzed by confusion of or fear of deviating from prescribed tenets for success, cling too rigidly to one approach, undermining their ability to respond to new or unexpected situations. Ideally, organizations need to borrow concepts and tactics from each approach to create an environment that meets their need. Top down versus bottom up. The two most influential approaches are championed by the industry heavyweights Bill Iman and Ralph Kimball, both pro- prolific authors and consultants in the data warehousing field. Iman, who is credited with coined the term data warehousing in the early 1990s, advocates a top-down approach in which organizations first build a data warehouse followed by data marts. The data warehouse holds atomic or transaction data that is extracted from one or more source systems and integrated with a normalized enterprise data model. From there, the data is summarized, dimensionalized, and distributed to one or more independent data marts. The data marts are dependent because they derive all their data from the centralized data warehouse. A data warehouse surrounded by dependent data marts is often called a hub and spoke architecture. Kimball, on the other hand, advocates a bottom-up approach because it starts and ends with data marts, negating the need for a physical data warehouse altogether. Without a data warehouse, the data marts in the bottom-up approach contains all the data, both atomic and summary. Users may want or need now or in future. Data is modeled in a star schema designed to optimize usability and query performance. Each data mart, whether it is logically or physically deployed, builds on the next, reusing dimensions and facts so that users can query across data marts if they want to and to obtain a single vision of truth. Hybrid approach. Not surprisingly, many people have tried to reconcile Iman and Kimball approach to the data warehousing. As its name indicates, hybrid approach blends elements from both champs. It, its goal is to deliver the speed and user orientation of bottom-up approach with the top-down integration imposed by the data warehouse. The hybrid approach recommends spending 2 to 3 weeks developing an enterprise model using entity relationship diagrams before developing the first data mart. The first several data marts are also designed this way to extend the enterprise model in a consistent linear fashion, but they are deployed using star schema or dimensionalized models. Organizations use an extract transform load tool to extract and load data and metadata from source system into a non-persistent staging area and then into a dimensional data marts that contain both atomic and summary data. Now let us look at federation approach. The phrase federated architecture has been ill-defined in our industry. Many people use it to refer to a hub and spoke architecture described in earlier. However, federated architecture, as defined by its most vocal prompt Doug Hackey, is an architecture of architectures. It recommends ways to integrate a multiplicity or of heterogeneous data warehouse. The data marts are packed applications that already exist within the companies and will continue to profi- proliferate despite the IT group's best effort to enforce standards and an architectural designs. The goal of federated architecture is to integrate existing analytical structures whenever and however possible. Organizations should define the highest value metrics, dimensions, and measures and share and reuse them within the existing analytical structure. This may mean, for example, creating a common staging area to eliminate redundant data feeds or building a data warehouse that source data from the multiple data marts, data warehouse, or in analytical applications. There are advantages and disadvantages to each of the approaches described here. Data warehousing managers need to be aware of the architectural approaches but should not be wedded to any of them. A data warehouse architecture can provide a beacon of light to follow when making your way through the data warehousing ticket. But if it follows too rigidly, it may entangle a data warehousing project in an architecture or approach that may be inappropriate for organizations' needs and directions. Data warehouse requirements. Data warehouse can exhibit performance and usage characteristics across a wide spectrum. Some are read-only and serve only as a staging area for future distributing data to other applications like data marts. Others are read-only but designed for fast online query processing, often very complex in nature, and of course there are the write-only data warehouse that serve no real purpose except for bargaining rights about having the biggest database on earth, but we aren't concerned with those. What we generalize about data warehousing is that they are large. They typically deal with data in very large chunks. Usage patterns are only partially predictable and everyone involved with them is emotional about performance. Beyond these ambiguous characteristics, two features of data warehousing define operational performance, that is query performance and load performance. Two other elements that influence the purchase decisions are cost and system cache. The right storage selection is a critical for high performance of your data warehouse. How is the storage important? Storage really is important and has many benefits to the business of operating a data warehouse. Storage not only holds the data, it is a key component of the architecture, enabling enhanced performance, uptime, and access to information. Data warehouses are increasingly becoming mission critical. Downtime can lead to a loss of revenue, productivity, and even customers. The most frequent cause of data warehouse outage are storage related device failures, controller failures, and lengthy load timers and backups decrease the impact of these problems leads directly to improvements in the number of your ROI calculation. The ability to run file transfers the data backup while the system continues to run maximize revenue generation and revenue encashing activities. Centralizing physical data management even in a logically decentralized environments make more efficient use of networks, people and hardware. Unbundling storage management from other processing can relieve pressure on servers that can only be upgraded in large expensive increments, extending the useful life for the device and future reducing downtime and disruptions. The ability to efficiently archive detailed historical data and data loss increases the organization's ability to leverage information assets. ETL ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. ETL refers to the methods involved in accessing and manipulating source data and loading into a target data. The first step in ETL process is mapping the data between the source system and the target system, data warehouse or data mart. The second step is cleansing of source data in staging area. The third step is transforming cleansed source data and then loading into the target system. Note that ETT, that is extraction, transform and transportation, and ETM, that is extraction, transformation and move, are sometimes used instead of ETL. The process of resolving inconsistencies and fixing the anomalies in the source data typically as part of ETL process. A database application file or other storage facility to which the transformed source data is loaded in the data warehouse. ETL tools. ETL tools are meant to extract, transform and loading the data into the data warehouse for decision making. Before the evolution of ETL tools, the ETL process was done manually using SQL code created by programmers. This task was tedious and cumbersome in many cases since it involved many resource, complex coding and more work hours. On top of it, maintaining the code placed a great challenge among the programmers. ETL tools eliminate these difficulties since they are very powerful and they offer many advantages in all stages of ETL process, starting from extraction, data cleansing, data profiling, transformation, debugging, and loading into data warehouse when compared to the older methods. The figure shows the popular ETL tools: Bioinformatica, that is which is owned by the company Informatica Corporation; Data Junction; Oracle Warehouse Builder; Microsoft; Transform on Demand; Transformation Managers, that is it is owned by the company ETL Solutions. Thank you.